Hello. If you couldn't tell by my well-placed coffee cup, you're now watching the Evolve podcast, the world's best podcast with a Samuel Grantson and a Lewis Facey. Today we're going to be talking all about weird brand collaborations that have gone well, that have gone bad in all ways, shape, or form. We're talking about brands working together and how that works for you, how that works for us, what we think about it. It's going to be a bit of waffle as always, but that's what makes us fun, isn't it, Lewis?
Yes, it is, Sam.
Yes, thank you. You can tell I've had my coffee. I've had my vitamin tablets. I'm good to go. But as we always usually start our episodes, it's a bit about how our week has been because this is kind of our diary entry, our spiel about how well things are going for us. Lewis, how has your week been?
It's been good. I'm not gonna lie. I feel tired. And I'm aching, and it's fine. It's all for good reasons though, because I went gym yesterday, and then I also went to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I've now started. But
Hi, Joe Rogan.
literally just got absolutely yeeted, and I woke up, and when like the whole back of your body is just in pain. So it's been one of them. It's been one of them days where
Is it when you can't tell whether your kidneys are failing or if it's generally back pain? Are you in one of them moods right now?
I just need WD-40 on all my joints, and I feel like everybody else does it jiu-jitsu because they're all like 35 plus.
Yeah. But you get used to it though.
Yeah. But no, it's been good, and it's been good for me to like go because again, like because I'm in a new area, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's good for me to familiarize myself in things that are new. And I'm noticing that everything feels really new, and I'm finding it still a bit weird. It's still an adjustment period, but like it's good for me though. It's all like good changes. But no, man,
Have you made some friends?
I'm all good. I don't feel like I would say that I've made a friend yet because my benchmark for a friend is quite high. I have made acquaintances
Okay.
at the moment. So, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, like they're my friend, they're my friend. Like, I don't believe you. Like,
Fair enough.
do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I get what you mean. You're getting selective with it.
yeah. You
You're
have
selective.
to, man.
You'll think you're better than everyone.
You're in a circle.
Respect that.
You have to trust the inner circle, man. Seriously.
Respect that. Money's clearly up for some people. Quite clearly, money's doing well for some people because they're out here picking and choosing who can be their friend. Must be nice.
I mean, isn't that what everyone should be doing?
That is what everyone should be doing. You should all be doing better, to be honest. You should all be doing better. I see a lot of people that are picking up friends like I used to do, picking up friends like Pokemon. I see a lot of people allowing mischief, which is something we'll talk about later, allowing mischief back into their lives. You guys need to stop that. Maybe, are you okay for me to interject and talk about me?
Go on, then. Yes.
Thank you.
How was your week?
So, my week has been well rested. So if you've watched the last episode, you know that I was ill. I'm still a bit ill in terms of my nose keeps getting blocked and my chest keeps getting a bit phlegmy. Sorry for the TMI that's got you feeling a bit like disgusted by episode today. But yeah, my chest still feels a bit phlegmy, and I'm just trying to understand what the hell that is because I don't feel ill. I just feel congested. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And I don't want to hear this whole like you've got hay fever. I don't get hay fever. We don't get hay fever. No, we don't.
No, seriously though, because
hay fever. It's winter. Hay fever's for the weak in spring.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's actually one of those people. But you know what, right? Because Rosie used to say, "Oh, I don't get hay fever,"
and it always hits the people that deny it the most.
Karma kicked in, and I think she genuinely got hay fever last year.
I refuse to embrace it. I feel like you get hay fever if you accept you have hay fever. It's all in your head, man. It's all in your head.
Shit, you come out with. You know what people are like? Not everyone deserves a podcast. Not everyone needs a podcast. That's one of those things you just said, and I was like, you don't deserve a platform.
Hay fever isn't real. It's all conspiracy. The government just makes it up so you can swallow random tablets, man. Okay, can we pause there? I was joking. I feel like some crackhead is going to clip that and then use that as evidence of, yep, he's right. No, shut up. And no, please. Please help me. I don't like these people. I don't like these weird conspiracy people sometimes. What else has been happening? I've avoided, I feel like it's weird. It feels like a bit weak to say it. I'm avoiding Twitter. Not like I use Twitter much anyway, but in the last elections, in the last series of America, not the most recent one, but the series before that, that had Trump. What was that? Series 45 of America.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Twitter because I'm not gonna lie, it was just drama central. Every day I woke up just to see what I only had a Twitter account just to follow that one guy, just because it was just like the world is falling apart, but this is entertaining. Now we're in series 47. I'm just going to avoid it. I'm going to avoid all these crazy people because I'm an older person. I'm a more mature person. My decisions are more impactful in the world, and therefore the world's movements are more impactful on my way of processing it. And there's just a lot of stupid happening across the internet right now. There's a lot.
Right.
So
I think someone posted on Instagram like a screenshot, and it was
Mm.
like Kanye, Trump, and then Elon, and it's like, is this is real? This is real. Or
this is
life?
actually, this is
Yeah,
now the
I
ranking
think
of
I genuinely need to just social media. Actually, I'm just starting to realize, like, even Instagram now, it's just Instagram comments are just racist. Twitter ones are stupid, and TikTok ones that are all 12 years, like 6 years old.
and it's
Just
only
I
gonna
just don't want to go on my phone anymore.
it's only gonna spiral further down. So I've just been focused on me. So coursework wise, we finished the literature review. The biggest piece of my thesis, I'd say, is done. Over 30 pages of tears in just one section. I'm now working on methodology. That's more enjoyable because I'm basically just, this is what I did yesterday. It's like a Blue Peter episode typed out. So I'm enjoying that. Then we've got the finance discussions, yada yada. We in the last episode we talked about how we were launching higher. We're now, this is technically like beta. We're in alpha/beta testing right now. So if you heard about it then and you're hearing about it now, go and sign up. Go and sign up to hire.com. How do we spell that? Thank you. .com. Sign up to that. It's there's stuff being worked on. Our About Us page. I know none of those pictures look like me because it's a template. We're working on that. We're working on improving our terms and conditions, our FAQ. We're working on looking at partnering up with some providers as well to help people protect their goods and services that they put on the website. So yeah, it's all kicking off, Lewis. And this week has just been me just trying to understand what is busy, and maybe we do an episode about that, maybe we don't. But I've been trying to understand what is the definition of busy to me. And I think my definition of busy for the longest time has been, I say I'm busy when I'm overwhelmed. And really that's when I'm too busy. And arguably busy is when I've just got a lot of things happening and there's an opportunity to delegate and work more efficiently. If I'm overwhelmed, it's gone too far. And I had a meeting with my head of product today who basically said, I would argue you're too busy when you don't have time to think about new ideas and contemplate anything new and innovative. That's when it's gone way too far because your whole brain space is taken up so bad that you can't even think about innovative stuff. And that's deadly as a product manager because then how am I meant to come up with cracking ideas? But now I've got that checkpoint as if I ever feel like that, it's gone too far, ring the alarm bells. Right now, I'm just the normal people's busy. So the stuff I can delegate, the stuff I can keep. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm delegating. I'm getting used to be able to say, hey, actually, that's your job. So you do that. And this is my job. So I'll do that. And it's been nice. That's been my week so far, though. Let's just dive in, man. Oh, follow us. If you're watching this video, subscribe.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are you doing?
Of course, yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, the button's right there. If you listen on Spotify, the follow button's right there. And once you're done, or maybe you're listening on Spotify and you're just twiddling on your thumb with your thumbs, scrolling through Google at God knows what. Maybe you're going through Twitter. Forget what you're doing. Come follow us on Instagram. Come follow us on TikTok as well whilst you're at it. Other links will come through. Lewis, you've got a website. You've got like a producer thing you work on. This whole media thing that you've invested in. What is that about?
That's true. That is honestly, you know what? I haven't updated that website in a long time.
You should do that.
I really should.
Considering we talk about our personal development and entrepreneurship endeavors, you'd think that you'd actually be updating that, Lewis.
I should be updating it.
Maybe when I give you your 1 view a month, I do like to see new things on your website.
No, sorry. No, I need to double down on the editing. Once I get this short film done, I need to go back into like the lab of.
I was going to say, you can't afford to go on a writer's strike. It doesn't count for you.
It's true.
You're on the struggle bus. You need to actually get
yeah, we'll do that. But anyway,
let's go.
partnership.
So brand partnership. So when we thought of this episode idea, we thought we sat there for ages, and we've got this rule where after every episode we don't leave the desk until we've come up with the idea for the next episode. And we do have our bank of ideas that still serves us when we get desperate, but we didn't get that desperate this time. We came up with brand collaborations, and why we came up with that is because we were just thinking about how some relationships just don't make sense, but somehow they're profitable. And then some are just stupid ideas that just get proven to be as stupid as the idea was. And I'm going to throw an example onto this table right now. And as I said before, Mischief. Mischief is a brand that makes money out of crazy collaborations. That's all they do. I'd say they put zero effort into the actual production of their website or their branding. They've just become notable for doing the craziest collaboration. A notable example being them and Lil Nas X and their Satan trainers with real blood in it. That was tapped.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
That was tapped. They also did those massive cartoony boots, the red ones.
Yeah.
That was Mischief. Mischief have done all sorts of weird stuff. Think about weird basketballs, they've done it. And I think for them, it's all about the brand, and it's all about whoever they work with and doing something outrageous just to catch people's attention. And if you can afford to buy it, it's just a flex. Like, I have so much money, I can buy this stupid item. And that's how I see them. So I'll let you expand. But that was what inspired me to want to talk about this, because it just throws me off like these things exist.
I feel you on that, to be fair. I feel like a lot of brand partnerships aren't necessarily good. I think you sometimes get a really big brand matched up with a really other random brand that are really fucking weird. And then they just go, oh yeah, let's just produce something because, you know, the diehard fans, and just say it's limited edition, even though it's not limited edition, and let's call it limited edition and say, oh, it's going to get sold out, and it will sell out, but it's because it's really fucking dumb. And this has happened so many times. There are some which I came across which I think were actually quite like borderline funny that it works. So KFC did a chicken flavored nail polish because it was singularly good.
Oh, actually, yeah. What, fair play.
And then people are like, that's pretty fucking good. And then they're like, the whole, the concept, disgusting. But, and it's like, there were other examples which I saw that didn't work. So Colgate, in the 80s, started doing, they did some weird collab with lasagna, like with like a frozen dinner lasagna thing, and consumers were repulsed the idea of minty toothpaste with Italian food. That one didn't work, but again, it's just like a weird collaboration there. There was another one which was again really weird. There was one that sold out. KFC and Crocs. Crocs, I think we're going to have like a 10 minutes on Crocs, but because Crocs keep on doing weird shit, but it keeps on working as well. Because Crocs, when we were growing up, Crocs weren't something that was cool. Crocs were like ugly fucking pieces of shit that
I remember I used to laugh at teachers that wore Crocs.
And now, I mean, I'll admit I own a pair of Crocs because I tried on a pair and I was like, oh, actually, these are actually really comfortable.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back since, and they're great. But they did a collab with Balenciaga as well, for like a high fashion one again, which is just like really weird. I mean, Supreme and everybody, like, because I feel like Supreme are mostly just collaborations. I can't actually think of like an actual Supreme item in my head that isn't some collaboration with, be it like Nike or Louis Vuitton or pretty much anybody. And I know you want to deep dive into Greg's and Primark as well.
I mean, Primark and just anything these days has been a bit nuts. There's been Primark and Harry Potter, which I kind of get, but the Primark and Greg's tracksuit was a line that didn't need to get crossed, and it was hilarious. It worked. I will say I've seen one person wear the full tracksuit outside.
Yeah, that has to be ironic.
That was
thinking that's good. You look good in it.
That was a line I didn't expect to ever see get crossed. It made me uncomfortable. Just to watch it. And you know what? I'm glad I saw it because when I saw the item in Primark, I thought, no one would ever leave their house in this. And someone in Nottingham just had to prove to me that I was in Nottingham. Someone had to prove me wrong and wear it outside. So that's the one thing that stuck in my head. It still is in my head rent free because I'm pretty sure I saw him eating Greg's in his Greg tracksuit. So at least he was on brand. There is a few others. There is a few others, and I know I listed some. So let me not try and waffle from my head. Let me waffle from real life. We've got the GoPro and Red Bull.
That's
So there are
a good
brands.
idea.
Yeah, there are brands that make sense. And if you're wondering if you've been hiding under a rock pretty much all your life and you don't know about either brand, GoPro's whole branding is around capturing the action, capturing an extreme moment. And Red Bull is an energy drink company that heavily invests in the extreme sports. Together, it completely makes sense. Their best example was the Stratos. So do you remember the dude that jumped from space?
Yes.
I thought that was just Red Bull, by the way. Can I just say? I thought that was just straight Red Bull, but it was GoPro and Red Bull working together on that project. And the cameras they use on them were GoPro cameras. So there's that. But in general, it does work. You kind of have moments where you've got brands that do similar stuff work together. Weird brands that don't work together but have tried. You mentioned KFC, the finger licking. There's also been KFC and Crocs. There's also been Lego and Levi, where fans customize their denim Lego pieces. It's just there's also one thing I wanted to talk about, and it was clothing brands in video games.
Yes, Adidas did this with Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't think that went down well
no,
because
because you don't touch Spider-Man.
no, you don't
do
touch
that.
Spider-Man because like they tried to make because basically this is now me going into full nerd because now you mentioned Spider-Man. Because basically in the Spider-Verse movies, Miles wears Jordan 1 Chicago's, right?
Mhm.
And they basically tried to replicate that suit in the game, but they did it with fucking Adidas shoes, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? No, you wear Chicago ones, like that's the brand." They did sell the line, and the line did sell out, but in the second, that was on the original Miles Morales game, and then in the Spider-Man 2, they did some weird custom suits. They did ones with like a few F1 drivers, like and did design their own suits as well, and they gave that as like free DLC. And I find those collaborations quite weird because I think it's one of those things where I think you've mentioned it before. It's like when it doesn't come across as a naturally authentic brand collaboration, it just seems like a money grabbing sort of thing.
Yeah.
You disassociate with it because particularly with a video game, it's supposed to be escapism, right? And you want to be immersed. But when you get slapped in the face with fucking capitalism at its finest, then you're not gonna be like you feel like a product. You feel like just a consumer. You obviously are, but you don't want to be blatantly feeling like it. Like you don't want to see anything that's
I don't want to
when
feel
you're
used and abused.
yeah,
I
exactly.
want to feel appreciated and understood. And the point. So when I tried to do some research, I tried. The what I was expecting to see was a crap ton of just weird brands that don't make sense, weird collaborations that don't make sense, and they're not authentic. And many of them are just doing it for the sake of it's weird, like Supreme collaborations where you get the Supreme bricks and all that, and all. But I think the rule still stands, Lewis. I still think the rule of authenticity. Why the hell do I struggle to say that word? The rule of authenticity still stands, even in the weird collaborations, because at least you're honest. If it's a weird collaboration, it only fails if you try to act like it makes sense.
Mm.
Like if Greg's came out and said, "Oh, the Primark collaboration," it perfectly makes sense because we're getting into clothes now. People are like, "No, shut up! You make donuts. You make yum yums and donuts. Stay in your lane." Right? But we all embraced it was a weird thing. They embraced it as a weird thing. Their marketing accepted it was weird. So that was authentic because even they stood on business and went, "This is weird." Now, would that same idea work for everyone? Maybe it's not so much. If BMW came out and started selling donuts, with Krispy Kremes. I don't think those donuts. They probably would sell out. To be fair, would they? Probably not. Anyway, BMW came out and they said, okay, we now make I don't know, soap. It wouldn't really be like a banging thing that would sell out, right? And if they turned around and went, haha, we're being jokes, like we're gonna give the money to charity, but we just thought it'd be weird. BMW fans would buy into it because then it's the brand just being the brand, right? The brand just trying to like play a bit of jokes. And even in that case, it would only sell to like the niche BMW fans. The ones who are very serious about BMW, but like, stop taking the piss. You're a serious German automotive brand. Be true to yourself, right? However, we've got the likes of Mischief, we've got the likes of Supreme and all these brands coming in. That is who they are. That is what they do on a regular basis. That's who their brand is. They stand on business on being the weird collaboration type brand, and they're authentic to that. I'm looking at the Mischief website right now, and they're even transparent about their collaboration guidelines. So if you go on the Mischief, if I can share my screen quickly, um, will it work? It should work. Share. Perfect. Can you see my screen?
Oh yeah.
That's the Mischief website. You can literally see right here. They are clear on their manifesto. They're clear. They've even got a collaboration. Their collab motivation matrix. That as a brand, this is what they do. This is what they sell. So their followers know that they're trying to like be niche. They're trying to be groundbreaking. So it is authentic, although it doesn't seem like it fits within their trend. Mischief could come out and start selling onion flavored flip flops, and people, it would sell out straight away. If I go on their current lookbook of their recent drops, I can't. And this is not a promo of Mischief. We're not. What do you call it? This is not paid promotion of them. I can't buy anything. It's already sold out. It's already sold out instantly. Their following is huge and it's authentic to them. Now, this is a hard thing for a lot of other brands that are very serious. Like this is a really good point. The government couldn't do this. You couldn't get Labour Party X, I don't know, Labour Party X Oreos. Right. You can get that. Like if they tried, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't make sense. So I think there is limits to this. There is limits to, who can do weird collaborations. But I think as long as if it's not within your brands, if it's not within your brand type, the only way to do these weird collaborations is to be really honest about the fact
Yeah.
that you're doing this. And another example I have is Duolingo. Have you seen the Duolingo drops?
No.
Oh my God, if you love this, you love this. So they did one that was a bit mad. In COVID, Duolingo did toilet roll, Duolingo toilet rolls. And every year, Duolingo has just one item for sale other than their language stuff, right? And sometimes they have toilet rolls. One of the items they do have, which I have one of, perfect, I do have it here, is the Duolingo plushie.
I
That
actually
was something that was selling.
not gonna lie.
I got it for free because Duolingo love me. I was doing a Unidays partnership deal with them,
Fair.
so managed to get there. So now my cats play with it. So Duolingo. But yeah, that was an example of stuff they do. And is that normal for Duolingo to sell toilet roll, a language? No, it isn't. But they're honest about it. They're honest that it's gimmicky. They're honest that they just do it for fun because they can, and it works for them. Have you got examples in your head, Lewis, of I'm trying to come up with some that have failed, but this actually might be its own like niche thing of any business can do it. Have you got any ideas of collaborations that have been terrible morally or ethically? I just stuff that is etched into like society as no one should ever do this again.
That's a good question. You stumped me there.
Why is that the case though?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I think, to be fair, everyone thinks has a short-term memory. But
Do you
in
think
terms
we
of
just
like,
forget about it in the end?
you know what actually really comes into my head, which was quickly shut down, and I don't know if this would fall into a brand partnership, but it's just in terms of an idea that was executed terribly. And I don't know, you probably won't be as associated with this because of you're not a football person. But do you remember the Super League that they tried to do?
Yeah. I remember that because that's the only time I saw. That's the only time where I think football actually fixed racism.
Bro, genuinely, I've never seen
Like
something come and go so fast.
I saw
Within
all sorts of
48
bald
hours.
men band together
Yeah.
I saw all sorts of hairless men just band together, hold hands in the pub, and scream and shout about something they all agreed on, regardless. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful sight.
I've never seen everybody unanimously agree on something
Mm.
ever like it.
Because in my head, I was like, I thought you liked football. I thought more leagues is good for you. And they're like, no, it's wrong. And I was like, why? And it was like, because there's a moral standpoint on it that by doing this, what was it? It was by doing that, they basically
They
seclude
basically,
all the leagues to just the top few
yeah,
and no one else can join into it.
yes. They basically made it so, like, for example, to give you a lowdown. So you know how the leagues work? It's like, if you climb up this league and you win that league and you get promoted, right?
Mhm.
So it gives the chance of like Leicester winning a league like they did like in 2015-16. And if you just create the Super League with all the richest clubs, it basically makes the whole league system redundant because you're basically saying, oh, well, we're rich, we're just going to play by ourselves and just have really good games. And it was only like 6 teams, but it just made the whole thing pointless. That's essentially it in a nutshell with my limited understanding as an avid football fan.
You realize that the NFL's like that. You can't just, you can't,
Yeah.
the NFL, which is seen like the Premier League of American football, you can't just develop into the NFL. You can't have like a low level team graduate into it. It's a membership system. They all have all the teams buy their stake in the NFL. All the directors have to like vote a team in. So it's not that different. So in other regions, it's accepted. Do you think that, do you think there's like a checkpoint or like almost like, yeah, do you think that's a checkpoint of whether something's considered ethical or moral in the brand collaboration in that case then? Do you think there's a point where we're allowed, if we don't know enough about it, we just let it go and then if it becomes standard, it's accepted?
I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know. It depends. Like I think if it makes
Mhm.
I think it's all to do with like supply, right? Like if you're making like an essential need
Mm.
like premium for the sake of it being premium not making sense. Like for example, right? If you had like I'm trying to think of it. Like if Evian decided, oh, we're premium now, and all Evian bottles are now collaborating with Versace as Versace water. It's £10 a bottle, and we're not making any other bottles. Like we're just now Versace water, right? And like, say if like loads of water brands followed suit and just put a mad premium on water, right? I know it's a really weird example, right? That would be an immoral thing to do,
Mm.
right? But that being said, though, it's like you have Versace. I just saw in that one Versace collaborating with H&M. Why would a luxury brand collaborate with a cheap brand?
Mm.
Those ones don't make sense to me. However, you have Gucci who collaborate with Disney, but you also have Disney collaborate with Primark. Now, in that sense, I think that's smart because Disney go across the spectrum of like all ages, regardless of your income or your
Mhm.
status. However, what Primark will do is create like a line. They made a line for like Shrek and Ratatouille and shit like that. It makes it accessible. And Disney don't really create their own clothes. And if they did, they were going to put a fat premium on it anyway. So a Disney branded clothing or t-shirt with Ratatouille would probably be like 35 quid. But in Primark, you can get it for like a fiver.
Mhm.
But if you want like some bougie Gucci bag with Mickey Mouse on it, if you can afford it, yeah. But if you
Mm.
want the cheap version, you can get the Primark line. So I don't know. It's a weird one, man. Like
I
I
think
think when you have two, I think you only have two. I think when it gets competitive, like I think you would understand this with all your degrees and stuff like that. But when two brands are creating a monopoly,
yeah.
right? Trying to think of example, like if you had some, trying to think of an example now. Say you had Apple and Microsoft do some weird collab with this line of laptops or whatever, or cameras or
Mm.
some mad bit of tech, or say that Xbox and PlayStation are collab on the next super console, and only everything's going to be on that, but it's a £2,000 laptop, and they stop support on
Yeah.
PS5 or Xbox, you're alienating a lot of people only to pay the premium for that. So I think when it limits your access to a premium, and when a brand basically says fuck you to your loyalty, which is basically what the Super League did and what other ones do, that's when I think it becomes immoral. And that was a very long-winded route of me. I was basically thinking out loud and thinking through the process. But I think when it affects your accessibility to something, or when your brand loyalty is basically being thrown in your face, I think that's when people start to go against it.
I do think I think it's difficult for a brand collaboration in effect to be immoral. A weird one would be, okay, here's a brand collaboration that's definitely immoral. Hugo Boss and Nazis, right? You see what I mean? That's a decent example when you think back. But at the time, it was perfectly fine for a fashion brand to fight for a military contract because it's lucrative. Like clothing brands fight for all sorts of contracts. Tech brands fight for all sorts of contracts. There might be a future where we look at Tesla in a bit of, I mean, we look at Tesla weird now. So that transition is happening as we speak, right? But there might be a future where we look at SpaceX as like hold on a minute, buddy. Wait a second. Like, what's going on here? We went from providing me internet from space to now we're supporting war in Ukraine. And the history books might tell a different story on some of these collaborations, right? So I do think ethical, moral, I think when it comes to ethics and morals, brands collaborating with government bodies is seen as a big no-no because it's completely inauthentic, right? A government body is not excused, it's not allowed to be funny, it's not allowed to be entertaining, right? That's what's like similar to how I feel like I'm more mature. I look at Trump and I'm circling back. It all connects, people. My brain eventually makes it make sense. But when we look at Trump, when I was younger and I was easily when I'm looking for keys and fun and jokes and like we thought we would live forever, people like Trump were hilarious to watch because it's just funny. Like, I'm not living in that country. But now I'm more mature and maybe I understand the economic impact of certain tweets and certain random conversations in front of a news panel. I'm now kind of looking at it going, this guy's a crackhead. And like, no offense, but like, politics isn't meant to be entertaining. I get that maybe Obama was a charming person, but charms get you as far as getting you the quick votes. What are you gonna do now? What work are you gonna put in? Is what people look for when they look at politics and government bodies and infrastructure like this. So I think it's difficult to morally, as a brand, collaborate with these government structures or bodies and have some kind of long-term view of yourself as like a positive influence. Even if it was a charitable endeavor, even if you decided, oh, as a brand, we're going to donate X amount of money to this government in this war-torn country, it will eventually come out in some weird way that someone was using the money in a dodgy way. And your brand supported this. And what is the best example is the terminology of Banana Republic and where that came from. So Banana Republic came from what's the name? It's actually a big banana company. They all they do is sell bananas and fruits and veg, but they're huge for it. And I think it was in Venezuela, one of those Southern American countries. And their problem was they grow all their fruits and veg there, right? But then you got big cartels going, we're not going to let you export it out. We're not going to let you do anything. So then they started donating money to the quote unquote government to support the people. But what they were doing was basically buying safe passage for their goods. And in turn, what basically meant was they had whole governments in those areas financially supported by a banana company, like a fruit and veg company. I'm trying to remember the name of the fruit and veg company because they've had a lawsuit that's only recently concluded. I'm gonna look it up. I'm going into my office. South American Fruits and Veg Banana Republic. If I say the name, I think you know who I'm talking about.
It sounds
Because that's where the terminology Banana Republic came from. It's not. Or maybe that's not where it came from. Oh.
apparently Banana Republic is a derogatory term. I didn't know this.
Oh, it is the country, 100%. Because you are basically saying they're crap.
Yeah. Banana Republic used to describe countries in Central America such as Honduras, Costa Rica, and Guatemala. No, it's a clothing.
Oh, there you go. Chiquita, was it called Fruit Company? Chiquita. There you go. The Chiquita Fruit and Co brand, Chiquita Bananas, whatever they're called.
Yes, that's it.
That's it. That's where it came from. They caused this mess. They played a role in this. So the idea of Banana Republic kind of comes from that. I think the terminology was maybe coined a bit sooner, but they made it a bigger deal of basically a whole government the Colombian army, that was it. The Colombian army basically was sponsored by these people. And was it Colombian army? Let people go fact check me, right? Don't just take my word for it because I'm speaking from memory.
For a clothing brand.
What?
That's Banana Republic, the clothing brand.
Yeah, it's a bit mad.
That's a mad name.
Now we know what it means. Anyway, so they've had a lawsuit currently closed off, but they collaborate with the government in terms of let me get secure passage. And now we look back at it, the money they gave has sponsored some atrocities. It sponsored some madness, but they just looked past it. They're like, yo, our bananas will come to the US and it's fine, right? So I think when a brand collaborates with the government, you can't do these kind of mischief like collaborations with those bodies. No one will ever take it seriously. I think automatically it's seen as unethical. And looking at a good website, like you can actually find a good story on, that's to jackbleakley.com. I'm looking at it right now. It's literally in the corner of my eye. Jackbleakley.com. They have a blog post about the good, the bad, and the ugly brand collaborations. And it summarizes the idea of what actually makes a brand collaboration work. And it has to be authentic. We've talked about that. It has to be creative, and it has to have great effective execution. Now, authenticity, we've badgered on about that loads. Creative means it has to be not only some kind of new idea, it has to make sense as well. And then the great execution, I think that bit's all about timing. It's all about waiting for the right moment for it to make sense. So Absolute Vodka and Heinz did a collaboration, but that's because you get vodka tomato sauce. That's a thin. Apparently Gigi Hadid or whoever it is made a big thin, like it popped. And that's the perfect timing for them to go, hold on, let's do a collaboration on this. Now, when I hear about vodka and tomato sauce with my pasta, it doesn't sound weird to me. For some reason, that's always made sense. And now I get why it made sense. And that's perfect collaboration for them because you got tomato sauce company and the vodka company come together. One that failed was Balenciaga and The Simpsons, because that's just laziness. They basically saw it. It's almost like it's laziness, but if Primark did it, it will be fine, right? But it's because Primark is seen as a cheap brand, so it's authentic for them to just put some cartoons on a t-shirt and sell it.
Yeah, and it is low risk, I think, because there's not a high barrier to entry, so it's almost seen as like funny. Whereas like when Gucci or Balenciaga do it, you're like,
it has to be
pretentious crap.
Exactly. Like if Gucci and Balenciaga did like they launched a Simpsons wallet, you want gold, solid 24 karat gold embroidery in there. You want effort put into there. You don't just want a black leather wallet with Homer Simpson's face printed on it.
It's almost like, I know this is going to piss some people off, but it's almost like I see it as, you know, when people just buy stupid art to just say that, oh, I could afford it. I see it's the same way. Like the people who would buy the banana with the duct tape on it are the same people who would buy the Simpsons Gucci Supreme Crocs collab, because you're like, oh well, it's limited. And that's what I think a lot of these brand partnerships now are. Like Off-White will do
Off-White's
random
they do the most random
collaborations.
Was Off-White Virgil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll do like some Louis Vuitton Off-White Jordan 1 thing. And a lot of these shoe collabs look shit, but you have shoe collectors, and shoe collectors are the same as art collectors, right? They don't wear those shoes. And don't be wrong, there are shoes that I've bought and I used to be really bad at like not wearing them, but now I'm like, no, I'm wearing them. But there are a lot of shoes who are just bought for the sake of like having an art piece. Like a pair of shoes shouldn't cost 15 grand. But
you raise a fair point here.
They do on StockX.
You raise a fair point, but I think you raise a point around two different types of markets, because what we've talked about is brand collaborations, but I think we've been biased in terms of, we've spoken about it in terms of maintaining your following, your brand following, the impact of it on your brand and growing it. When you think about resellers, they're just opportunists. A lot of them aren't
Wow.
fans of a particular brand. They're fans of the opportunity to make money off the collaboration, of the rarity of something. So I'd say resellers are an interesting market, but they're short-lived. So if you do a brand collaboration, you can only really take advantage of resellers if your brand name is big enough to get a reseller's attention and to represent an opportunity to actually for them to get a profit out of their reselling. But that's what platforms like that are. Do you think a lot of maybe you do get what do you call it, niche? You do get actual brand followers on these websites. Would you agree or disagree?
Right. What can I expand on that?
So if people who tend to go on StockX and all these platforms for
Well,
specifically for niche collaborations, so if you go on there for mischief items, if you go on for Supreme items, are you a fan of the brand, or do you think they have more people going on those sites to buy it to then sell it at a higher price later on?
I think a lot of them are going to be resellers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
particularly
agree
if
as well.
something is completely objectively crap
Yeah,
and it sells out. People are just waiting for it to go up.
facts,
It's an investment.
facts.
It really is. It's the same. I view it the same way as like art. But I think a lot of these brand collaborations, I don't think a lot of them are. Oh, I really like this, and I'm gonna wear my Disney and Gucci bag. When have you seen anybody with
True.
that out? They're keeping
True.
it because they see it as a, oh yeah, this is gonna be a rare thing that I can use to my advantage. And if you can invest in it, fine. But I think you shouldn't just be known as, oh yeah, we're creating this thing for resellers.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? It has to be actually good. It
I
can't
like
be
that. Yes, effort
crap.
has to be put
Do you know what I mean?
in alignment with your brand's the quality your brand represents. So if you're Gucci, you're meant to represent high quality. Your brand collaboration still has to have your brand in there. It has to be authentic in terms of your brand and that other brand needs to be well merged together. I still think the level of creativity, it's also dependent on how creative is your brand. Primark isn't known as being a creative brand. Let's be honest, Primark just do stuff. They sell stuff that people need at a time with like, a bit of splash of color. They replicate a lot of existing brands. It's very rare that I'd see something in Primark that I'd say that's unique to Primark. Even like we get the Greg's collaboration. That was just Greg's is a weird brand to collab with, so it looked unique to Primark at the time. But did they do anything different other than print Greg's logos all over the tracksuit? No, they didn't. It was just Greg's logos all over the tracksuit. Same with anything they do. Now, if Gucci did something like that, I'm expecting some fancy materials and I'm expecting some effort. I'm expecting the designer to have cried at least 7 times during the process of making this and tell me a story about that. Because that's Gucci, that's your brand, you put effort into it. So I think that's what you need to look out for in a brand collaboration. I also think brand collaborations, like we've talked about for our podcast, a brand collaboration only matters when your brand is big enough to start work. When your brand is big enough that you've got a core base of audience, that it's worth transacting that with someone else's audience. Because if we did a brand collaboration with another podcast, we'd be doing it knowing that we'll be pollinating our audiences across. Now, if we've got just 100 followers, right, and then we go to another brand that's got 2 million followers, it looks great for us, great collaboration for us,
Yeah.
for them and their audience. Who the hell are these people? Who the hell is Evolve, right? So it does work in that way of you've got to the transaction when you do brand collaborations isn't just the money you pay to do it. You are transacting audience members, brand followers. So that's got to make sense as well. A really good podcast that does this, and I've praised them before, and I think our private conversations, Shits and Gigs do this really well when they collaborate with other podcasts. What they do is they'll take games and themes from that other podcast when they host and bring it in their own, or they'll do the whole like they'll get their audience to put value into the episode, to be prepared about this unknown experience. So they'll be like, "Oh, roast our guests for us, do this for us," and they get the buy-in from the audience. They get the audience invested in the idea of collaborating it with another brand. And why that works is if that other podcast is really small compared to theirs, the audience is already invested in them. They've already gone to learn about them, so it's more than just numbers. However, if you're just a clothing brand working with another clothing brand, and no one knows the other clothing brand, you join together. If you've got the bigger numbers, your audience is gonna be like, "What the hell's going on?" If you've got the smaller numbers, your audience are probably just gonna look at you and be like, "Oh, you're going up in the world. Great for us," and us wasting our time following you. But that's as far as it goes. I do think you need to do it. You need to also focus on what do your brand followers care about, and how can you pollinate the services across so they can actually benefit from the collaboration in terms of learning about the other brand. It's almost like a mutual. It's like I see brand collaborations almost like the olden days royal marriages to join kingdoms together.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yep.
Like you're joining your kingdom, so the people have to like it. People have to like the princess from the other country. They have to like her. So Princess Diana coming over. Oh my gosh, she's so amazing. She's so charitable. The country bought into it. We love her now, right? We get that I don't know, like her lineage was somewhere in Europe, but like it works. So you have to get your audience to buy into this other brand and love them if you want a good collaboration. And that also plays a part into what we've talked about previously around being authentic and building up your authenticity. And to do that, you've got to have a track record. If you don't have a track record, you need to start one. You start one by getting your audience engaged in the other brands. You can start aligning yourself with that brand so it's authentic when you start collaborating with them. So yeah, that's my spiel anyway.
I think
You
it'll be
can.
good for because when like Nike do a collab with Gucci and all this sort of stuff, I don't really care. I would be more interested in seeing if Nike were to collab with a brand I'd never heard of, a small independent brand that make really high quality clothes that are affordable. I'm way more likely to buy into that. And if they were to price it normally, then the Nike Gucci Force One, whatever the fuck it is,
Mm.
and something 500 quid on it. And I actually would say you got me thinking now, because there's a lot of like indie clothing brands now.
Mhm.
They should actually collaborate more instead of seeing other independent brands as competition, because at the end of the day, the winner of that partnership is the consumer. Because if it's like, oh,
Sure.
this independent brand that I really like is collaborating with this other one that I don't know, and then you're exposing them to that other audience, they could be like, oh, right, this brand does some really cool stuff, and then you both win. Why don't more clothing brands do that? If you're smaller,
That's true.
as opposed to waiting till you're big, why don't you just collab now?
Well, you kind of lose if you're not big enough, if you not hit the critical mass, whatever that is for clothing brands, if you've not hit that critical mass where you take it, the critical mass is when you take advantage of network effect. So your audience helps you build more audience. Like YouTube channels, once you hit like 1 million followers, it pretty much just fruit. You can stop recording videos, so you probably still keep growing in followers because people are going to see your content and keep going. So once you hit that critical mass, you just keep growing. The number validates itself. People see your one video, your two videos, and go like, oh, but he's got 2 million followers. Mate, there's something in it that validates that the peer validation is there. Let me watch more of these videos. Let me subscribe. You subscribe. They might not upload another video again. Example being Harry from the Sidemen. I don't know when that Donny's ever uploaded a video, but his following is still growing and he puts one short up and everyone's gassed because, oh my God, Harry might do more content. He's already breached that network effect barrier. He doesn't have to try anymore. His audience grows. Is the rate of growth as big as it would be if he recorded more videos? No, but the evidence is there that he doesn't have to put effort into his videos anymore. It's already reached that critical mass. I think you have to find what that is, where your number grows in its own without you doing more than what you usually do. Once you've hit that, I think that's when you're in a good position to sell some audience members, because it's almost like your investments are so strong you can live off the dividends of that investment now. You can live off that growth. I can afford to lose 100 followers to you. 100 followers that will see your content and think, oh, I like him I like Lewis way more than I like Sam. Let's just ditch Sam now. Like, you can afford to do that because you know those numbers will get replaced. I think when you're a very small brand, it's too risky to do that, in my opinion. I have to disagree on you on that one. I get that it helps. It helps if we're saying that, okay, all these small indie brands together, you've got enough numbers to compete with these bigger brands. That's great, but then all you will be is the brand of indie brands. No individual brand can actually stand on their own. Like Tom's hardware clothes brand and Becky's hardware clothes brand, they no longer have a unique voice. They're just indie brands together fighting against the big guy. And that's what it is right now. Whether they work together or not, that's what it is right now. Indie brands working together to fight against the bigger brands. But the bigger brands aren't seen as just bigger brands. Their individual names stand.
I have seen a indie brand company do this where they are a home to independent brands. And I'm not sure how it works, but basically I'm going on this website right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 20 brands on here. But this website is basically kind of like it's almost like their distributor, because obviously it's just a landing page with a bunch of different brands. And these brands will have like maybe like 10 pieces.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be exposed to it if it wasn't for that independent brand. So it is an independent brand of independent brands.
Mm.
But it weirdly works. And I don't know why.
I think it probably works because they've built a following for themselves as being a good, like having a really good Spotify playlist. That's why I see that website is, but for indie brands. And the reason why is it's really hard to discover a new indie brand. Now, every brand on that website is fighting for attention on their own. But if I'm a really big brand and I go on there, I'm not really going to benefit much from a non-existent network effect on that platform. What I'm doing is basically feeding them brands. Like if I had like a million yearly buyers and this website on its own with all its many brands had 10,000, I have no reason to go on there unless they pay me to be on there. Because all you're telling me is I'm coming onto this platform to give you all my followers. And I know I throw them under the bus a lot, but uni days for student beans, a lot of people go to these websites for the Adidas and Nike discounts, and then they find other brands, right? It's rare that someone goes on there and goes, oh my God, Adidas, I've never heard of that before. So it's kind of, you're just selling your brand on. So if I went on there, I would expect to have a very favorable rate. Now, the only people that go onto this kind of website are like niche discovery brands. And I'd say if you create a platform like that, your success comes from being really good at finding brands that blow in popularity. So if you were to create a platform like that, if you were to kind of create that, what's it called? It's called it's not freemium model. It's why have I forgotten? Why have I forgotten? It's basically when you've got multiple different models cater for. So you cater for the brand, you cater for the consumer as well. And I know the name of it. I'm too tired to remember it. If I remember it, we'll put in the description. And there is multi-platform business model. There you go, a multi-platform business model. And the idea is that you basically play the middleman role. A multi-platform role, you got all these brands that come on your platform, and they're all the multiple providers, and you basically help them find consumers. Your role in that, depending on what you're doing, in this indie brand perspective, your role in that is encouraging them to get awareness. So your idea of all these brands collaborating together, it doesn't work if they sacrifice their brand power to each other. That doesn't work if they're too small. However, if you go into a space like that indie brand shop website and you accept that, hey, I'm not a big brand, but I'm here to make a name for myself amongst everyone else, then what you're doing is you're technically working with other brands by sharing a space with them, but you're not actively collaborating with them. We're all on the same website, but we don't know each other. And in that way, you can actually build an audience for yourself without your audience thinking, oh, now I've gone with you, I have to go with this other person because you collaborated with them. They have a choice to go with you and go with other people and sample all these different options and then come with you. However, if you advocate for that brand being as good as you open the door for someone to judge you two directly next to each other and kind of go, they are as good as you, but they do this thing better, so I'm just going to jump ship. And if you don't have enough numbers, you stand to lose all your following to that better brand. So you've got to think about that. So a multi-platform business model, it's the website's job to get you attention. It's your website's job to get you following. And the more successful they are at getting you following, if that website had, let's say we had a brand called Shubs, pause, but yeah, we had a brand called Shubs and it was a clothing brand on the city website. Shubs blows. Everyone goes, how did Shubs blow? It was from this website. And everyone who wants to go and be, the next tastemaker, the next trendsetter, now comes to your website to find the next opportunity to be a trendsetter for another brand. And that's why that website now gets a pull in. So for them, a multi-platform business model in that situation, your goal is to make one of them blow. And then the benefit of all these indie brands being on there is, if I'm here, your goal is to make one of us blow, that means you're going to put a lot of effort into getting me attention. So that's my reason why I'm going to pay you for the space. And that's why they shine bright. So this indie platform, wherever it is, no matter how, ethical and authentic they're trying to be, we're trying to get indie platform attention. Their strategy is to get one of them to pop. And if one of them pops, bare people are going to come to the website. And I'm willing to bet you a decent amount of money, Lewis, that as soon as one brand blows, that brand will be on their homepage forever.
Yeah, probably.
That brand will be center of all their marketing. Just like that guy who did the Kobe Bryant motivational work. Like, Kobe popped, look who's front and center. And Kobe's gone and he still plays a major role in this guy's marketing of my success cases. So anyway, we're about to hit the hour mark.
Yeah, let's wrap up.
Do we wrap up there?
Yeah, I think it's good.
I feel like we really picked that up near the end. I'm sorry about the slow start, guys. The coffee was not hitting just right, but it has now. It has now. Do you want to do the outro, Lewis?
I think you're good at the outro, Sam. I think.
Oh my God, Lewis,
Busy
you're not
with it.
trying, and I'm all right with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I like the attention. Right. Thank you guys very, very much for listening to the world's best podcast with Samuel Grantson and Lewis Facey. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video. If you want to comment, that'd be nice. But like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. What are the names on Instagram?
The Podcast Evolve on TikTok.
What's the name on TikTok?
And it's Podcast Evolve. It's Podcast Evolve.
You made
me feel uncertain.
I did. And on Spotify, it's Evolve for some reason. We should change it. It's Evolve on Spotify, but I'll get it changed to the Podcast Evolve because you know what?
No, just keep it involved. Just keep it involved.
No, I'm going to change it to the Podcast Evolve. I'm going to change it.
Don't
I'll
change
change
it.
it to the Podcast Evolve.
Sam, it's been a year almost. Say what
I know, it's exciting, isn't it?
No. Also, go follow Hire. Go on the website.
Go on the website. Sign up for Hire. Don't follow us yet. We don't care about the Instagram just yet. Just sign up. Let us know some feedback. You know what? Sign up to Hire. If you've got feedback, message us on one of the Evolve channels, and I'll read it. Lewis probably forwards it to me and be like, your nonsense is spreading into our podcast. I'm like, it's cool. I'll take the feedback on. So yes, please sign up to Hire. Get ready to sell some stuff, rent some stuff, not yourselves, unless you've got a service to provide that is legal in the country you live in. Okay. I can't stress that enough. You fools have been given too much power with an internet connection and you must be stopped. Lewis always complains about my waffling at the end of these episodes, but that's just something I had to stress.
No, that's actually fair.
Because I don't want to be held responsible for people's dumbness. I don't want to log on and see someone selling toe picks. We don't want that. All right. Unless it only do it.
Sam, if you knew I'm making $1 million, you'd do it.
If it makes $1 million, we could talk about some, front page hosting and some major marketing opportunities. But yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure allowing you to listen to me talk. And Lewis as well. Anything else, Lewis?
No, I'm all good, bro. See you guys. Love you. Bye.
Goodbye. Yeah. Like this.